Hi, and welcome to the Breakthrough Emotional Eating podcast. My name is Kristen Jones, and thank you so much for joining us this week. Y'all, sometimes in life, things go in a way that we think, "Oh, my life is just smooth sailing. Everything's great. We're just floating along." And then out of the blue, out of left hand turn, things don't go the way you plan them. That is what today's podcast is all about. And so I am really, really excited to talk to Holly. And Holly is one of our members in the Breakthrough membership, which is a part of the Breakthrough Emotional Eating podcast group on Facebook. And you are live in the Breakthrough Emotional Eating community. And one of the things that we do in this group. So if you're not a member, www.facebook.com/groups/food breakthrough, is not only do we talk about emotional eating and do we talk about weight loss, but there's so much more to our emotional eating and our weight that has to do with every aspect of our lives. We can't compartmentalize each part of our life and say, okay, this stays over here, and nothing ever blends together. Everything blends together. And so in our group, there's a lot of support for people as they're going through aspects of life, just life in general. And so I'm super excited for Holly to be a guest today because she has an amazing story, not only of weight loss, we were just talking before we went live, just about how her thoughts are so different about when she goes to eat something. It's just like things are so different for her. Her amazing weight loss, but her perseverance and her just ability to be able to face adversity and focus on herself and continue to move forward. So thank you, Holly. Thank you so much for being a guest on the Breakthrough Emotional Eating podcast. And I would love for you to start by just sharing with the group, not only and the listeners, not only where you're from, what you do, and then a little bit about your background and kind of how you found the group.
I'm from York, Pennsylvania. I am a toddler teacher. Normally, I teach young toddlers, which is 1-year-olds. This year, however, I've been moved to the 2-year-old room, so I'm with older toddlers, which is a whole brand new experience. I found the group during the pandemic. I just was not happy with myself, not happy how I was feeling, and actually kind of did a search and found the group. And I kind of followed along, but wasn't really participating, and started listening to the podcast on Spotify. And I'm like, no, I need to do this. And started seeing the changes.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. So you were a member in the group, and then you joined the membership group. And that was, I believe you joined right when it opened, which was about a little more than a year ago. So I think it was probably April or May. I think it was April of last year. And so can you tell us a little bit about kind of where you were in respect to, how you felt about yourself, your weight? Just give us a little bit of background about where you were when you came in and decided to join.
I was extremely frustrated. I was depressed. I caught myself one day going out to the kitchen and getting 3 granola bars, sitting down, eating them, throwing the wrappers away and grabbing 3 more, thinking, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I was dealing with a lot. My boyfriend had anxiety, so he needed a lot of help. Sorry.
Okay.
I have 2 young kids and a full-time job. So I had a lot on my plate and I couldn't get it to balance. I didn't know what to do. So when I found the group, I found a community that was extremely supportive, positive, non-judgmental, and a place where I could go and ask questions and get the help that I needed, not only with food, but with life in general.
Mm-hmm. So as you kind of made this, you were in the group, you were, learning things. What was for you, what was the most kind of this most significant and most eye-opening thing that you learned as you were kind of progressing through with your weight loss?
Responsibility. I always took other people's emotions and feelings to heart
Mm-hmm.
and took responsibility for how they felt.
Mm-hmm.
And in the group, I learned I'm not responsible for how other people feel about what I do, what I say, or anything.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm only responsible for what I do, how I feel and think. And that's all I need to worry about is
Mm-hmm.
taking care of myself.
Mm-hmm. And that is really, and that has kind of gone out throughout your life, not just in relationship to weight loss or anything like that, but like in your job, I've just noticed that you could, because you and I have had lots of conversations about this, you have become very outspoken. I mean, much more outspoken than you have been in the past about stating when things are not going the way that you want them to go. And
Yes.
what kind of gave you the the confidence to be able to do that?
During a meeting with you, you had asked me when I was upset about something that happened at work,
Mm-hmm.
what I thought the other person involved was doing. If they were at home upset, stressed out because of my feelings, or if they were at home enjoying a bottle of wine.
Mm-hmm.
And I realized, why am I stressed out and worrying about all this stuff when nobody else is?
Right, right,
I get one life. I need to enjoy it
right,
and live the best that I can.
right, right. But you've become really great about when something, instead of keeping it inside, advocating and saying, hey, you know what, that's not my response, that's your responsibility. And you've been really good. And that's a hard thing for I'm going to ask anybody in the group, how many of you have an easy time, if you have an easy time telling people telling people when you're upset with them. And some people, many of you probably do have a very easy time with sharing when you're not happy with somebody. I know for me, I am a classic people pleaser, and I will swallow that, and then I will go eat something, and all is well. And I don't have a tendency to want to upset other people. I'll upset myself first. So if you feel like you are a people pleaser and you worry more about other people than you do yourselves, put people pleaser in the comments, just so we know that we are surrounded by people pleasers, and or not. I know that's something that I like. This is hard for me. So as you progressed through your weight loss journey, and so again, we started last April. You had lost weight. Things were going really well. I remember things were just going really smoothly. And as life, and as I had referenced at the beginning of the podcast, as life goes, sometimes life goes and things are great and we're progressing and all the things are good, and then out of left field, life happens. And so would you share with the listeners just kind of in your own words? Remember I told you about that lamp thing? Your own words. What transpired? What happened at the beginning of the year that kind of derailed you for a brief moment, and then kind of what you did to get yourself back on track?
In December, right before Christmas, my boyfriend and I both came down with COVID. So we were at home, couldn't go anywhere with two kids. So you kind of get off your plan. It's a little hard to put movement into your day. Spending Christmas at home was rough.
Mm-hmm.
And then on New Year's Day, he was having chest pain. And he thought it was from being at home and resting on his arm. And the next morning, I couldn't wake him up. He had gone into cardiac arrest and had passed away on January 2nd with the kids and I at home with him. So that kind of threw a big wrench into it. I still had to quarantine for a whole nother week with the kids because of the requirements with school, and try to get things together,
Right.
keep things going with the kids, keep myself together, and not just completely fall apart.
Right. And you have a very strong support network. You have, you have a very close family. And so your mom lives nearby. I know you're at your mom's house right now. Hi, Denise. Um, so you really had, you had, a community, around you.
Yeah.
But you didn't, the one thing that I will not ever personally not ever forget was you sharing in the group, sharing with us in the membership about what was going on, and ask, just asking for prayers of support, and all of us being, really being there for you, and knowing that you needed that support. And so let's fast forward maybe like a month, maybe 3 weeks, and well, middle of February. So what did you end up doing in the middle of February that I'll let you tell the story. What did you end up doing in the middle of February that I kind of offered something up, and what did you do?
I kind of stepped up and put myself first, realizing that my kids have one parent, and we've had conversations of what's going to happen to them
Mhm.
if something happens to me. So I realized I really had to start doing something. So I joined the elite
Mhm.
program and held me more accountable. I felt like I kind of knew what I was doing, but I couldn't, I gave myself too many passes of, oh, well, I had a rough day, so I'm going to have this. So having to be held accountable more for what I was doing, what I was thinking, and eating and leaving food behind really helped me. I also have a coworker who will walk with me every day on our lunch break,
Mhm.
and we've now tried to get our pace to be as fast as we can.
Oh, good.
Um, we started off where I would come back and have 5 minutes before I had to go back into work, and now I have like 15, 20 minutes. Like our pace is just getting
Wow.
that much faster.
Yeah.
So between sticking to my plan, thinking more positively, forgiving myself when I do have bad days, and
Mhm.
not eating my emotions, it's
Mhm.
really, really been working.
Right. So since I should have done the math beforehand, and I'm not very good at math, but because I know what your starting was and I know where you are now. So I'm gonna have to, I believe it's 21 pounds. I think that's what
Yes,
I think it's 21 pounds since the middle of February. Middle
yes,
of February, 21 pounds. Yeah. And
yeah.
so that, and I think for me, being your coach, and working with you, I think the thing that I've seen the most change with you is the thoughtfulness and the awareness of when something happens. You're much more analytical about, like, okay, so why did that happen? I think I understand. Like, sometimes you'll even message me and say, here's what happened, here's where I am, and this is why it happened. You've already, like, I don't have to ask you anymore. Like, you've already thought it out ahead of time, and then you report into me about, like, well, here's what happened, and this is why it happened, and this is what I'm going to do tomorrow to make it, to have tomorrow be a different day. And so you're 5 steps ahead when things happen. But I feel like, and I don't want to speak for you, but you just are so much more focused on you and on your own happiness. So what have you been doing, kind of for yourself, in a sense of like doing a little bit more of, like, taking care of yourself, self-care, that sort of thing?
Well, like I said, walking on my break
Mhm.
and focusing on the positives.
Mhm.
When I first moved into my house, my front yard is quite a big hill.
Yeah.
And at the beginning of mowing season, we would have such a hard time to mow the front, where we would have to take breaks because we would be so out of shape and out
Mhm.
of breath.
Mhm.
And I can now mow the front, the side, and the back, and do the spin trimming and keep going with other housework and not need any breaks.
Right.
So celebrate those little victories of,
Mhm.
hey, I can do this
Mhm.
because I'm the only one that can, but
Right.
praise myself because I got
Right.
this.
Yeah, absolutely. There was you've had a couple of instances also, where ice cream has been involved, and there have been the kids have been involved, and you have, like, I would love for you to kind of talk everyone through kind of like what you've told me about your thought process of like when you're presented with like, oh, the kids want ice cream. Okay, what do we do? And so again, you've had a really good way of thinking about it and just kind of processing through that.
I knew that I was taking the kids out to eat, so I had kind of looked at the menu and figured out what I was going to have. The kids wanted ice cream, and I just kind of sat there for a minute looking at all the different flavors that they had, and then thought about all the times that I had to walk to lose the weight that I lost.
Mhm.
Do I really want to gain a couple, even a tenth of a pound because of ice cream? Or do I want to lose because I didn't have the ice cream? And I decided that it was not worth eating the ice cream. So I was able to get the kids ice cream. And in fact, the line at the restaurant got so long that I told them I would get them ice cream at McDonald's. So I ordered it on the app. So I had no chance to change my mind. It was, this is what I'm doing. I'm not getting ice cream. And they got to have what they wanted. And I was perfectly happy with that.
Right. And then you even had I think you even had leftovers that night and they went into the freezer and
Yes.
they stayed in the freezer and the kids had them the next day.
Yes. I
Yeah.
have like two big shopping bags full of Easter candy at my house, and the kids and I barely touch it. Like I
Hmm.
would love to bag it up and take it to work because we're not eating it.
Right. Right. And you've also found in, and we had not, just so you all know, I of course have cleared all the things we're talking about with Holly. So Holly knows this what we're talking about, but this is one thing I hadn't cleared with her. You had something just recently that you posted in the group about you've had a huge change in your nighttime routine for you going to sleep
Yes.
and since Gordon's death. So what would you share with everybody what kind of what's happened
Um,
and the change that you're seeing?
since he's passed, I've had to sleep with the TV on, the volume low, but I just felt more comfortable having the sound and that extra light in the bedroom
Hmm.
to drown out any little creaks or anything that I would hear. And the other night, when I decided I was tired, instead of turning the TV volume down, I actually turned the TV off. And I kind of caught myself for a minute going, oh, wait, don't I need that? And I said, no, I have a Google Mini. So we put on ocean sounds,
Hmm.
and I went right to sleep and slept the whole night through.
Right. And that's the first time you've
Yes.
done that since January. So
Yes.
that
Yes.
see that's really that's and what what do you think for you? What do you think allowed you to be able to do that?
I kind of at first was, I think, afraid that I was going to see him, knowing that he wasn't supposed to be there,
Hmm.
but I wanted to see him.
Hmm.
And now I'm kind of like, he is there. He's there in spirit. He's
Right.
not going to hurt me.
Right.
We loved each other, and it's
Right.
okay.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And you have a very beautiful necklace that you wear that keeps him close to you as well. So that's beautiful as well. So what is kind of on the horizon for you? What are some things that you want to continue to work on as you move forward, as we continue to work together and as you move forward?
Well, the kids and I are getting ready to go to the beach in June with my
That's right.
family.
That's right.
So I want to work on the being able to eat off plan, but still eat to satisfied and leave
Hmm.
food behind.
Hmm.
But I'm excited to be able to ride bikes on the boardwalk with the kids.
Hmm.
I'd love to start running again. Back in 2013, I ran a 5K and
Hmm.
loved it. So I
Hmm.
would love to start running again.
Right. Oh, that's so cool. That's awesome. And so how your total, if you would share with everyone, your total since you came into the membership, how much weight have you lost and how much what is your kind of what's your goal for your overall weight loss?
I have lost a total of 45 pounds, and I would like to lose maybe another 20 to 30
Hmm.
pounds.
Hmm. That's great. That's so exciting. So exciting. Well, I so appreciate you coming on and sharing your story because I think one of the things that really has touched me is that you that you are obviously you care a lot about obviously you care a lot about your kids, and you're concerned about your taking care of your children, but you know that you can't do that unless you take care of yourself first, and that ultimately you are you have to put yourself first. The kids are important. They're the ones you're there to care for, but you you always have to come first, and you have done that, and your commitment to yourself is just so admirable, and you do it in such a quiet, subtle, very just you just go about your business, and that's just it's such a wonderful thing. So I'm so incredibly proud of you, and thank you so much for taking the time and coming on and just sharing your story, because I think it's inspiring, and I think you'll touch a lot of people's lives by doing this. So thank you so much for doing that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. All right, y'all. I told you this was going to be a good one. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening. And we will see you all next week. Again, if you are not a member of the Breakthrough Emotional Eating community, please go to www.facebook.com/groups/food breakthrough, or just do like Holly did, go into the group, go into Facebook. And if you just put emotional eating, my group will show up. It'll usually be the first one that pops up. So just go in, search, come find us, be a part of the group. All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, everyone who was in the group. I really appreciate you being here. Thank you, Holly, again. Appreciate it. And we will see you all next week. Thank y'all. And